Hey guys, this is Victor. Today I'm gonna talk about smartwatches and whether or not you should buy them in 2017. Let's get to it. So, as you can see, I'm rocking a Zen Watch 3 from Asus, which was released back in 2016 and just recently got updated to Android Wear 2.0, which is the latest available as of right now. In this video, I'm not going to focus too much on the hardware. Instead, we're going to talk about the state of the software and hardware of smartwatches in general. So that includes the Apple Watch as well. So let's start with the good. Setting up your smartwatch is super simple. It usually just takes a couple of minutes. And once you're ready to go, you can just go to the Play Store and you can see a list of all of your installed apps. These are the apps that are installed on your phone and that you can easily get on your watch just by tapping on the download button, and then you tap on install. Mine is in Portuguese, but that's okay. So it's super easy. You get your apps on that list and you can scroll through it. It's pretty intuitive. So let's talk about the good and the bad. Both Android Wear and watchOS offer an easy way to see your notifications and reply to them. Like, you can just tap on reply and you can dictate your messages, or you can even use a keyboard to type out your reply. It's pretty straightforward. You just type it, you tap on send, and that's it. If that's all you expect from a smartwatch, you're gonna be pretty happy with it. But smartwatches can actually do so much more. They give you music control, so you can skip tracks, you can go forward, you can go backward. And in the case of Google Play Music, you can actually download your music to the watch so that you can listen to it even when your phone isn't with you. Another cool thing about smartwatches is that they can offer some functionality that your phone doesn't have by itself. For example, I have this app called Remote Camera, which is pretty self-explanatory, which allows me to use the viewfinder on my watch so that I can see what's going on with my phone camera, and I can actually take photos from a distance just by tapping on my watch's screen. So that is very useful when you set your phone up to a tripod, and then you don't have to rely on timers, you can take your group shot. And also when you just want someone to take a photo of yourself, but you know that that person isn't very good with technology and photography overall, so they end up taking a bad photo. So this feature is actually very useful. And another very useful thing about smartwatches is that you can use them to find your phone. So on the Zen Watch 3, I can actually configure buttons to launch specific apps. So I set the lower button to just launch the Find My Phone app, and then it's going to ring my phone, which is very useful if you lose your phone around the house or if it falls behind the sofa. It's pretty great. You can also get many more apps on both Android Wear and watchOS. For example, I have a calculator on my watch for when I need to calculate a tip quickly or something of the sort. So for example, I can just type 28 times 0.4 and there's the result. And I actually forgot to type the point, but that's okay. One of my favorite apps is called mPass, which is a wonderful password manager which allows me to quickly see any password that I have stored on the cloud, on the go. So like I have this PIN page, so I type my PIN and then I have access to all of my passwords wherever I am. Oh, and by the way, the screen bending that you're seeing right now is just because of the camera. On the watch, everything looks fine. You can also use Shazam to identify any song playing wherever you are. So like if you're at a party, you can just turn it on and you quickly know what the song is. Something else that you can get on Android Wear is an RSS reader, so you can get to your news on the go and scroll through them. It works pretty well. One of my favorite features of smartwatches is that you can actually use them as silent alarms. So if you're like me and you hate the sound of an alarm in the morning, you wake up cranky, I don't know, it's very annoying. So you can use your smartwatch to wake you up by vibrating on your pulse. And that works just fine. That's a feature that every smartwatch has had for a long time. The old jawbone up had it as well. So you just set the time, you press OK, and it's going to wake you up with a vibration. So, all in all, smartwatches have quite a few uses, but they also have quite a few shortcomings. For starters, they're very, very slow. For example, when I was about to load the Play Store to show to you guys, it took so long that I had to skip like 10 seconds of the video. Like, look at this. And I know that smartwatches have to connect to your phone through Bluetooth to get information, and that they are new hardware, so it's different, but it's painful the amount of time that it takes to complete simple tasks. And that is especially problematic since the whole purpose of smartwatches is to be able to access information and do simple tasks quickly. But most of the time, it's actually faster to take your phone out of your pocket, unlock it, and do whatever you want on it, instead of using your watch, so there's no point in buying them. Another problem with smartwatches is that developers don't take proper advantage of them. For example, WhatsApp. WhatsApp on Android Wear doesn't have a dedicated app. You can't find it on the app drawer. You can just reply to notifications that you receive. So you can just see them, and then you reply. You can use your voice, you can type, but you can't start new conversations using the touch interface. In order to do that, you need to use Google Assistant. But the problem is that most of the time it doesn't work. Google Assistant has this weird bug that doesn't let you send messages to whatever contact you want using your voice. So, for example, it works when I want to send a message to my mother, but it doesn't work when I want to send a message to my brother. Still on the topic of Google Assistant, it has a huge problem that most people don't talk about, which is that it only works in English. So that means that if you live in a country where English isn't your primary language, you're gonna be stuck with Google Now, which has a lot fewer capabilities. For example, you can't start a song from Spotify using Google Now. And the biggest problem is that if you try to change the language to English for Google Assistant to work, it changes the language of the whole watch. They are all connected. So if you want to get Google Assistant to work fully, you have to set your watch to English, but then if you receive a message and you want to use the quick reply, you're gonna have quick replies in English, and if you try to dictate, you'll only be able to dictate in English, and if you try to use the keyboard, autocorrect will be in English. So it just takes a lot from the user experience, and I think it could easily be fixed if Google actually paid attention to that. But as of right now, it's just a bad experience overall. But coming back to the app problem, like take Spotify for example. When I first got the watch, I thought it would be awesome to have Spotify on it because I would be able to select a specific song to listen to while I was at the gym, so that I wouldn't have to take my phone out of my pocket so often. But I just found out when I got it that the only thing Spotify allowed me to do was pick a playlist and then skip songs, just like my cheap headset can. You also can't save songs for offline listening on Spotify for Android Wear, unlike on Google Play Music. So here lie the problems with smartwatches. They offer a lot of potential, but they fail to deliver. In order to succeed, they need to get faster, developers need to make better apps for them, and most importantly, they need to get cheaper. Because right now, these smartwatches are costing $200, $300, and that's the price of mid-range smartphones, which are fully featured. They can do everything by themselves, and they're pretty fast, and they're pretty good at it. So I think the pricing is completely off. I don't think smartwatches should cost over $100. And if you tell me, Victor, regular watches usually cost more than that if they're nice. But we shouldn't compare this to regular watches. They aren't regular watches. They are smart devices. We should compare them to smartphones. So they are underpowered, they are very limited in features, and they just can't be justified for that price point. Right now, the only people who should get these are developers so that they can actually make some good apps for smartwatches, and tech enthusiasts who always need the newest and greatest tech, especially at the price of 3 Moto E's for a ZenWatch 3. But right now, save it for your next smartphone. So that's it, guys. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, please have in mind that this is my first review ever. So that's all. Thanks, and until next time.